How's it going, guys? It's your boy Mike from Seattle, but today I'm coming to you from Las Vegas at the One Rental at a Time event. I'm here with Chris, who has had a similar journey when it comes to his experience as an investor. So what he's going to talk to us today about is how he went from buying turnkeys to having the confidence to be able to do full gut rehab. So Chris,
yes,
share with us your journey and what gave you the confidence to go from turnkey to value add.
Sure. So I really started our journey in early 2021. We bought our first unit or quadruplex. And now we are, as of this coming Thursday, we'll be at 30 units across 2 markets in Southeast PA.
Dang.
Even though my wife and I had always bought a house and fixed it and then moved on to the next house and rented it out, great appreciation, alligator cash flow. We kind of got wise after we started to get involved in some of these communities. So we sold all of that and bought our first one. But I think the complexity of thinking about getting into this, with both feet and committing, we moved half of our retirement into this investment strategy was a little nerve-wracking. So we were conservative out of the gate. We bought turnkey. It was not only a competitive market, but obviously you get lower returns. But I think at the time it was a good chance for us to start to build our confidence. And I'm an engineer by trade, so for me, it's a natural process to say, build a test, build a prototype, build a pilot, right, and then learn and then evolve and grow. Mm-hmm. So what I found is as we got in, we did the turnkey, learned kind of how to manage that. The next one we bought was needed a little bit more love, maybe a little bit more of a facelift. And fast forward to today, right now we have three buildings that are basically complete gut to the studs and basically rebuild. So if I think about making that journey, and I was talking with Mike, kind of reflecting on like what were the 3 things that really enabled me to make that pivot. I think one was confidence, and I think in that case confidence just comes from reps and cycles and pattern recognition and kind of just going through it. I think 2 is knowledge. And for me, it was really understanding how do I want to engage with contractors, engaging with a sub versus a GC, a very different type of management approach. Where do I want to play? How heavy do I want to play? And actually the 3rd thing, which I think over COVID and up until last year was the biggest rate limiter, is finding the right partners. In our first city, we're in Lancaster, PA as our first market. It took me about 18 to 24 months to really dial in my team there, to the point now where I think I could probably accomplish ground up if I really needed to. Now I'm in a second market. We've only been there a little less than a year. We're getting close on the team, but I imagine by next year I'll be comfortable. I'm actually debating next year potentially doing some ground up work, because I think is the other point Mike and I were talking is, if you really want to go for the more meaty returns and you want to go, red ocean, blue ocean, if you want to go hunt for deals where not a lot of other people are going, you have to go to value add, better opportunity, more opportunities, et cetera. So that's in a nutshell, that's kind of been my journey. It's been great. It's still a little daunting, but it's proved out to be really, really effective for us.
Confidence, knowledge, and building the team.
And the team.
Those were the 3 things. So the next point that I would make, for me, when it comes to value add, the most important part of that is value. You actually have to recognize value, and that's a skill that you develop over time. It isn't until you've looked at a bunch of deals, looked at a bunch of after repair values, before you figure out where value really is. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to transition from like turnkeys to value add? How do they begin to understand recognizing value?
Wow. I think I can describe it, but I don't know that I can give anybody a journey. I think I kind of joke, one of my superpowers that really enabled me, back when I started trying to buy in 2020, 2021, couldn't find any deals. I realized that, I didn't have more money than people. I didn't have, a lot of the skills or experience that other people did, but I recognized that if I could find deals that nobody else could make work, could I figure out how to get creative enough to make them work, right? Like, for example, one building, great quadruplex or quad, Nobody would go near it because no conventional bank would finance it, because just some of the dynamics of how the building was built. So, I leaned forward and started to build relationships with commercial lenders, which is something I'd never done. It was very intimidating at the time. Fast forward to today, we've done 4 deals with them. They're my first choice for lenders. 2 is, I think, just some of the communities I hung out with have given me a good sense of how do you look at a property as it is today and see what it can become. And some of that is experience, and some of that is knowing your market, and some of that is, you know, networking with people who can kind of give you a sense of what good looks like. But that's been huge for me because, like, you know, nobody's, I mean, I'm not mad or these guys, but, you know, I'm not buying deals that out of the gate are 10 or 15%. I'm buying deals that are 5 to 8%, but I have a clear roadmap because I can see what it can be to get it to 11, 12, 15%. Might take a year or two, but that's been, I feel like that ability to be creative about how can I get it to where it could be as opposed to where it is now has been like one of my superpowers to enable us to really accelerate growth, because then we can go after deals that frankly are going to scare or be uninteresting to everybody else. So I'm hunting where other people are kind of steering away from.
Which means that you have a little less competition, and really it comes down to how creative you can be so you can make deals work. I was saying to somebody the other day, there's no bad real estate, there's just bad terms. If you can figure out the terms to make the deal work for you, whether that buy it cheaper or you have a better team in place to do the work better than someone else can, you can make almost anything pencil out into being a deal. Chris, I really like your journey. I really find it inspiring that you've really kind of been kicking this into high gear over the last couple of years. I want one more final thought from you.
Sure.
For somebody who's trying to get started in 2024, what's the one piece of advice you would have for somebody buying their very first rental property?
I'm going to cheat and give you two. It's persistence. And I think at a certain point, you have to take the leap of faith. So find a pilot project, a learning, you know, something that you're going to buy, do your diligence so that even if it doesn't go well, it's not going to kill you. But the knowledge you get on that, just going through that first deal, your first deal gets you 40% of the way to being an expert. So you got to take the first step, you know, be smart, do it on something that's not going to break you if it's bumpy or has some problems. But I think just getting started, and you have to be persistent. I mean, I can't tell you, I mean, I was doing over 2021, 2022, I'm looking at 3, 4, 5 properties a week. And over that entire year, I bought 2. So, you know, how many 100 to 200 properties did I see? You just got to be persistent and stick with it. And you will find a deal. And also, as you see more properties, you'll begin to get a sense of like what good looks like. You'll begin to get a better sense of like, oh, well, this is what it could be, as you kind of look at the other properties. So,
Chris, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. He gave up 30 minutes of the One Rental at a Time event to interview with Dion and interview with me. So make sure you like the video, leave a comment down for him below. Chris, I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.